David is hiding from King Saul, and he's in the area of the Philistines. However, at this time, when the Philistines are about to go out to battle, they do not want David to go with them, for fear that perhaps he will join Saul and fight against them. But David assures them that he's not going to do that. However, they still won't allow him to go. We read about this in 1 Samuel chapter 30, beginning at verse 1. Now it happened when David and his men came to Ziklag on the third day that the Amalekites had invaded the south and Ziklag. They attacked at Ziklag and burned it with fire, and had taken captive the women and those that were there. From small to great they did not kill anyone, but carried them away and went on their way. So David and his men came to the city, and there it was, burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters had been taken captive. Then David and the people who were with him lifted up their voices and wept until they had no more power to weep. And David's two wives, Ahinoam the Jezreelite and Abigail the widow of Nabal the Carmelite, had been taken captive. Now David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his son and his daughters. But David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. Then David said to Abiathar the priest, Ahimelech's son, Please bring the ephod here to me. And Abiathar brought the ephod to David. So David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I pursue this troop? Shall I overtake them? And he answered and said, Pursue, for you shall surely overtake them, and without fair recover all. And now here is Ari Bar David to explain to us further about this incident in the life of David.
So we are in Ziklag. Usually we say the name or the meaning of the name of a place in Hebrew, but the name Ziklag doesn't have a root in Hebrew. That's why I cannot say much about the name itself. Let us remember it was a city. And I'm now under one of buildings, and the city of Ziklag looks something like this building that I'm standing now. And I'm very, very close to Ziklag, the original place, which is just to the left, some minutes from here. Now, the text starts that David arrived to Ziklag on the third day. It might be that it took him 3 days to make a journey from where he had been, which is Afek, the battlefield from where all the 5 officers of the Philistines met together in order to go to the array against Saul, which was in the mountains of Gilboa. It might be that it was the third day from the time that David left this place. Remember, David is taking his army people. They're now walking. They would minimum have horses or donkeys or mules or camels, because camel was very, very regular animal in this place. So it would take them 1 day to arrive from here to Afek, riding the camels and the donkeys, staying there another day, and early on the third day, as we read in the chapter 29, very early in the morning, they left Afek to arrive here quite late in the evening. Wow, I imagine David arriving in the evening. Imagine what a stress he had to pass there in Afek, when he was so close to go to fight in a battle against the King Saul, the one that was anointed by God, and David never touched him, in any way tried to harm him. And imagine the spiritual battle that David had to pass there among the Philistines. So now, leaving the Philistines in Afek, riding back home, it was like a big release. Wow, this release didn't last for a long time. On the same evening, he's seeing still the smoke that came from the fire that the Amalekite burned this place. So often in our life, we think that we passed something and we feel that we have released, and then we find ourselves in another battle. But God is bringing us through these stations of life in order to teach us again and again to trust only Him. Now, when David arrived here, he found that his daughter, his two wives, Ahinoam and Abigail, and all his household, all of them are not here. They were taking prisons. I believe that he felt better when he didn't find any dead body here. You see, the Bible says that the Amalekites didn't kill anyone. They just took them, they robbed them, they took them as spoil with them. So no doubt it was a release. But even though David, it's written that David was crying, he lifted up his voice and cried and cried and cried. How much David wept till he had no power to cry anymore. Wow, I like this verse very much. To cry till you have no power to cry anymore. You know, it's not a sin to cry. The Lord showed us again and again, also with Lazarus. When he came and found Lazarus dead, he cried with all the people around him. And when he went down on the Mount of Olives and saw Jerusalem in front of his eyes, he cried, "Oh Jerusalem, oh Jerusalem, how much I wanted to gather you like a chicken that gather their hens." So crying is something good. We are human beings, and the Lord told us very clear, cry with those who cry, and rejoice with those who rejoice. So David and all the people that were with him were crying till they had no power. But when he finished crying, then he felt kind of release. And look what is written. When he finished crying till he had no power anymore, he strengthened himself in the Lord his God. Again, how beautiful is when the first thing that after we are broken, after we feel this distress, after we feel almost like dust on the ground, we strengthen ourselves with the Lord, not with any other thing. And practically what he did, he asked the Lord by the ephod which Abiathar carried with him, "Shall I pursue or not?" And the Lord, what he told him, not only pursue, but what also, you shall surely overtake them, and without fail recover all. Look, I really believe that this is what the Lord is promising us. But look, there are stages. And we have to understand that many times the first stages is falling down on our knees and lifting our voices to the Lord. And from this stage, we can only grow up. From this stage, the Lord can strengthen us. How high? Till He will recover everything. What a beautiful lesson we studied here from this part of this chapter 30 of 1 Samuel.